How many of you glad you're married? Say amen. How many of you believe your spouse is glad that they're married? Say amen. No, okay. Maybe we'll get there by the end of the service. Let me give you some verses here. 1 Peter chapter 3. I love these verses, and there's some tension with these verses because of what they say. But I'm hoping we can unpack it today and kind of open it up a little bit. It says, likewise, wives, be subject to your own husbands. If you come from old school in your King James, which is what I grew up in, that word subject would have said submit. You know, in every service I've ever said the word submit, a woman laughs. Yeah, right. I don't like that verse, Vince. You know what? I don't like that verse. No, I'm good. Thank you. No, I know I don't need it, though. It'll confuse me. Yeah. All right, thanks. Thanks, Joe. So, it says, likewise, wives, be submissive or subject to your own husbands, so that even if some do not obey the word, they may be won without a word by the conduct of their wives. Did you guys catch that? Husbands, did you catch that? They may be won without a word from your wife. Hold on, ladies, I'm getting there. Verse 7. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. How many of you understand your wives? Showing, and catch this. This is the part I want you to catch. Showing honor. It's a lost art, fellas. It's a lost art. Showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. Good, ladies. Nobody laughed on that part. Since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. Now, ladies, it says up there, be subject to your wives so that you live a life basically that exudes Christ, so that if your husband isn't a believer, that just your life, your daily example will draw him to the Word of God. Husbands, it says in that verse, is that you are supposed to honor your wife. If you don't understand what that means, in the time of a monarchy, when there was a king and a queen, if the queen walked in the room, the whole room was like, there she is. Shh, there she is. And the whole room stopped. Husbands, I want to challenge you this week. Not today, this week. And continue it on. But Vince, it's Valentine's Day. I got the hook up. That's okay. Your marriage doesn't end today. It goes on tomorrow. So husbands, I want to challenge you to make sure that when your wife walks in the room, think of giving her honor. That's my wife. And I'm honored that she's my wife. Because there are days, guys, let's just be honest, she could have probably found better. Can I get an amen, fellas? Yeah, you may not want to, because I didn't ask your wives for the amen. I know what their answer would have been. So we're going to talk today about marriage, and we're going to talk today about something that's really important, I believe, because when a pastor says we're going to talk about marriage, typically their wives are like, yay, we're going to talk about relationships, and it's going to be good, it's going to be awesome, and fellas are kind of like, ugh. But fellas, we're going to talk about sex too. So you're ready, it's good. I mean, you're excited. If you have children with you, let me just be straight. We do have a children's ministry that is awesome, and they're having a rock star party back there today, okay? If you're cool with them being here, and you're perfectly comfortable with the conversation on the way to your Whopper and French fries Valentine's dinner, then I'm good if you're good. But just so you know, I want to make you aware. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. I don't want your kids to be uncomfortable. So if you want to check them into kids and come on back, you're welcome to do that. No harm, no foul. There's people back there waiting for that to happen. But if not, we're going to go ahead and dive into this. So here we go. We love to talk about this idea of marriage and what it means. Women love to talk about what it means in marriage. Men, we're not so conversational. It's kind of like, ladies, here's a picture for you. If you're driving the car and it starts making a noise, what you typically do instead of going, what's that noise? Because see, that's what a man will do. They'll go, what? Do you hear that? You hear it? No, listen. No, not that. That. Did you hear it? No. Now, I'm not a mechanic, so what I do is kind of like what a lot of ladies do. I reach for the volume knob, and I turn it up, and I go, problem solved. I can't hear it anymore. It's good. We don't want it to work, or we don't want to work on it. We just want it to work, right? When you get in the car, you just want to hit the key, put it in drive, and hit the throttle, and it work. When it doesn't work, that's where the issues occur. Well, sadly, a lot of times we do that with our marriages too. We just want it. We don't want to work on it. We just want it to work. And ladies, you're sitting there feeling tensions because God wired you emotionally with all this stuff going on. And men are kind of like, when I got home yesterday, she was still there. So we're good, right? She didn't leave. And so it's tough to really talk about this, but I hope today you get a little bit out of it, all right? And I've got to hurry, but there's so much here that we need to discuss. So I'm going to just dive in. The first thing I want to talk about is this box right here. Make sure it says the right thing. There we go. Desires. Now, when you got married, or before you got married, you had these pictures in your mind of what it was going to look like. And it was awesome. Am I right? I mean, picket fence and 2 kids that are perfect. And you were going to get married, and there's going to be this honeymoon, and then you're going to come home, and every day you get home from work, and she's going to be sitting there greeting you with a hug and a kiss, and then when you leave, she's going to kiss you as you leave, and then when you're just in the kitchen, she's just going to want to kiss on you, and in your mind, fellas, there's just a lot of kissing happening. And then you get married, and you go, wait a minute. There's nothing wrong with that desire to have that, but I want to talk to you about some of the desires that we have going into this. And it's kind of a bait and switch, and here's what I'm talking about. See, when we get married, we have some ideas on decisions, like when I get married, this is how I want decisions to be made. We're going to sit across the table, and we're going to discuss it, and we're going to come to a decision as a unit, as a family, and it's going to be good. Because we're going to just put it all out on the table. And we're going to discuss it. Except you don't really quite know where the other person's coming from. And in their world, maybe they were never a part of the decisions. And they're just kind of going, whatever you want to do. And then it puts it all on one person. Now, the desire to make decisions together is really good. Nothing wrong with that. Another desire that we have coming to the table is money. Ladies, you want to make sure that when you get married, you have a desire to be taken care of. And I'm not saying you're not going to work, but even if you work, you want to make sure that you have security in a marriage. And if we can just have that security in the marriage. There's a story about this young couple that went to marriage counseling, and the husband was all bent out of shape, and the pastor's like, what's up? And he said, listen, she just don't make biscuits the way my mom used to. And the pastor's like, what are you talking about? He's like, seriously, that's what it is. That's all of our troubles. If she would just make biscuits that tasted like my mom's. Pastor looked at the wife and she said, what do you think? And she said, I'd make biscuits like his mom if he'd bring home the dough like my dad. So money is a tension. And making decisions with money, and I think we should be immediately dropping into savings. And the husband's like, I think we should immediately get a 60-inch big screen. And I think we should do this with our money. Let me just ask this. Is there anybody here that's been married under a year? Raise your hand. If you've been married under a year, it's right you right in the middle. Come on up. I'm not going to put you on the stage, I promise. Is your husband here with you today? You can send him if you want. There you go. Sorry, bro. You don't have to come up. How long have you been married?
7 months.
7 months. You got a good one. Hey, you got Valentine's all figured out?
Oh, yeah.
Good?
Oh, yeah.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to take her out to dinner. All right? Okay?
No.
No, listen to me. Listen. How many of you remember your first year of marriage? Raise your hand. How many of you want to go back to that? Because in most marriages, at some point or another, this is a tension point. And so, as the pastor, I would love to buy dinner for you and your wife. Okay? So take that for me. All right? Appreciate you guys. So we have these expectations in marriage with our money and with our decisions, and we have other expectations of like how our life is scheduled. You guys know, like, some of people that grew up in a house where like at 5:30 dinner was on the table. Dinner was at the table, and some of you are like, at 5:30 I can't even spell dinner because I'm just getting off of work and it's chaos. And you know, my family typically eats somewhere between the hours of 3 o'clock in the afternoon and the next mornings. It's really all the scheduling that we have. But for some of you, you're like, I just want to be able to come home and there's dinner on the table, and then after dinner we're going to watch 6 o'clock news, then the kids are going to do their homework, and then they're going to take a bath, then they're going to go to bed by 9:30. Oh, it's going to be awesome. That's what I'm expecting. But sometimes the schedule doesn't work that way. And then holidays come up, and it's like, hey, these holidays, you get Christmas, I get Thanksgiving. Then we'll go to your parents for Mother's Day and my parents for Father's Day. And then some of you are just like, I thought we'd just kind of hang out by ourselves on Christmas. And your spouse is like, what? We've got to be around family. And so you've got to kind of work through these things. And listen, those are all desires that you put in here. Some of you husbands, you come home and you want your house cleaned. Ladies, listen real close, okay? I'm going to make sure you don't crucify me. That's not a bad desire, okay? But, husbands, your wife may be coming home from work and have a desire that the house be clean. And that's not a bad desire for her either. Okay. So, you have these thoughts. Then after we get to that, that's just some of the meatier stuff, or simple, maybe surface stuff. And then you get down to the meatier stuff, like, I have these desires of how I want to be treated. Like, I've had people come to me and say, Vince, it's not really fair for you to talk about sex because you're married. And you can have sex whenever you want. Like, did you read that in a book or something? Because you guys know what I'm talking about. And fellas, we'll just be straight, because you're thinking about it like men will set their intimacy calendar with a clock. They're like, well, it's 2 o'clock. Are you good? Because I think we could do this. And ladies will set their intimacy calendar with a calendar. And it's like, well, it's not October yet. And so... And you're going, wait, no. See, I have these desires for intimacy in our relationship. And you have this picture in your mind of when you'd come home and this is what it's going to be like. And you're going to come in here and you're going to light some candles and it's going to be nice. And I got this, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to put rose petals out and she's going to fall in love with me again all over. And then she comes out of the bathroom with this thing on and you're like, what is that? This is not what I had in my expectation desire catalog of when we were getting married. How many of you here, ladies, how many of you don't have a robe? Anybody? Would you like one? Because I have a blue one too, if anybody. Not yet, Isaac, not yet. Okay. And so we have these expectations or these desires that God puts in us. And okay, so how we want to be treated. I really need you to respect me as a husband, or I really need to feel loved as a wife, as a husband. I want to feel like I'm wanted. But we go into these things maybe not all the time sharing our desires with our spouse. We just think they're supposed to know. Like, how do you handle conflict? Well, we don't handle conflict. I'm the husband. What I say goes. I got an amen over there. And he'll deal with that on the way home, but that's okay. Some of you grew up in a house where conflict was handled in a whole lot different way than what it should have been handled. Where conflict was, well, when the item hit the floor, the discussion just elevated. And instead of talking about it, I'm just going to yell louder than you. because that's how it was handled where I grew up. And so as long as I get to yell, then I feel okay about it. And really what's happening is you're just turning up the radio and there's still an issue under the hood. So you got to talk about how you desire these things to be handled, how you desire this stuff to be taken care of. Because if you don't, you're going to cause a train wreck in your marriage. And we really typically handle marriage one of two ways. We either try to recreate what we grew up in or reject it completely. I will never do that. I just wish he was more like my dad. You know, my dad was a great dad, and I married this guy hoping that he would be like my dad. Well, you didn't marry your dad. A, that's weird. And B, God chose this person to be different. And so a lot of times we want to try to recreate, or it was a traumatic childhood growing up and you watch the elevated arguments and you've just said, I'm never, ever going to have that. And you go the complete opposite way. And so every decision you make is not based on your relationship, but the one that you watched. And so you've got to kind of walk through and go, okay, God, I have a desire that my marriage would look different than this, but I want it to be your marriage, so show me how to do it. I have a desire that my marriage would look help me take the good stuff from over here and make it part of our relationship. And those desires are good, healthy desires. But we've messed it up. See, in our culture today, when we talk about intimacy desires, right now it's all so twisted up because we go, you know what? Well, Vince, seriously, what's the big idea with having sex before you get married? And I hear this, and people have said, well, Vince, you got to test drive the merchandise before you buy. I'm like, well, idiot, you're not test driving, you're carjacking. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you, so you don't get to do that. Well, I already did. So what now? Well, now it just means you have baggage to try to carry into a relationship. Well, is baggage bad? Most of the time, it's not real healthy. Now, it can be fixed, it can be dealt with, it can be fought through. But you're creating tensions out here because you're working off a desire, and the reality is you're not working off a desire, you're working off of something different. You're working off expectations. And that's where the problem lies. This is not wrong. It's not wrong, ladies, for you to want a little romance. And it just be romance. Buy me flowers. Take me out to somewhere nice for dinner. And don't expect sex at the end of the night. There's nothing wrong with that. Fellas, it's not wrong with you to have a desire for an intimate sexual relationship with your spouse. It's not wrong. It's biblical. God created it. He's a fan. Some of you, that was just weird for you to hear that said about God, but the truth is He created it. And in the right context, it's one of the greatest things there is. But in the wrong context, it damages us. And so there's nothing wrong with wanting romance, but when you have a desire for romance is one thing. When you turn romance into an expectation, then it gets a little sketchy. Because what happens with an expectation is this. See, you're born to desire compassion, intimacy, sex, respect, longing. God wired us that way. But the problem happens, and I want to read this so I don't mess this up. When I take a legitimate desire and then place it on the shoulders of my spouse, then it feels like expectation. And when it becomes an expectation, the scale tips and it becomes an unhealthy relationship. It's okay for me to want to have the house cleaned when I get home, but if I come home and go, you ain't got the house cleaned yet? it shifts. Well, I wanted some romance. Could you just take me out? He never takes me out to dinner. He just never does. And when we have these expectations, that's when the tension starts. That's when we begin snowballing into a place where it's not healthy. These expectations, we come to this place where she or he owes me. Well, I did this, so they should be doing this for me. Well, that's not a relationship, that's a contract. And that's not how you want your marriage to be, is it? Well, we signed one, so I guess we're here. Well, we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to try to rush through this because here's the thing. When we respond, or this is how we typically respond to expectations. If you've taken your desires and all the stuff that you wanted in your marriage and you stuffed them over here and said, this is how it's going to work. And here's the thing. Each person in the relationship has this box. Husbands, you have one. You have expectations of her. You, spouses, wives, you have expectations, so you're carrying your box too. And the problem is, very rarely do you ever come together and talk about them. Husband's like, I don't talk much. This is worth talking about. It'll save your marriage. Because right now, some of you are in tension right now in your marriage. Some of you are in trauma right now in your marriage. And you haven't even started talking about what you expect in your marriage. What do you expect out of conflict resolution? What do you expect out of this or that? What do you expect in these areas? I don't know. But this is what we do when we can't deal with expectations. We respond in a couple different ways. The first one is we leave. I'm out. I can't live under this pressure. I'm taking my ball, I'm going home. I can't live under that expectation. I just can't get there. Second thing that we do is not only do we leave, but we try to conquer. You just be who I need you to be. And we try to change them into what we want them to be. Here's the problem with that. You picked them. You can't change them after you pick them because you picked them. You've put yourself in a conflict. You go, wait, I was good enough to ask to marry, but not good enough to stay married too? Well, I didn't know you were going to be like this. Yes, you did. Well, I thought you would change. Oh. See, then that's on you, not on them. You can't ask a car to be a truck. It doesn't make sense. But maybe if I work hard enough, I can change it into a truck. No, you can't. Everything's different. Suspension's different, payload's different, all of it. It's different. You can't make that happen. So we try to conquer by making them what we want them to be. Third thing we do is we just try to conform. We just go, whatever. Heck, if this is what you want, I'll just do that. It's fine. I believe the word whatever should be a marriage curse word. Like it's just like cussing at me if you say that to me in our marriage. Because basically that statement, what it screams is, I don't care what you're saying right now. It's whatever. Well, do you want to do this? It's whatever. Whatever, it's fine. Well, it's not fine. I can tell it's not fine. I know, but it's fine. And so we try to do that. We try to push forward with that. And the fourth thing is this, we compromise. Some of you are like, that's the answer, compromise. See, I don't think so, because in a contract, when you compromise, you're just living it for the contract. See, I love my wife like crazy. I love my wife. And she's gone this Valentine's weekend. Oh, you guys didn't do first service, they felt sorry for me, thanks. No, she's gone this weekend. She's at a church, and she's studying some things and going to bring them back and help us out, but I don't stay married to Jennifer because I signed a marriage license and I stood in front of a preacher. I stay married to Jennifer because I am absolutely nuts about her. Well, but you got to stay married because you committed, so you stay committed. Guys, it's not like a, bank. They're not going to come pick it up. I stay married to her because there's not anybody else on this planet I want to spend life with. And your marriage, compromising, well, if you do, what you end up creating is a debt and debtor relationship. Well, I'll do this if you'll do that. And I guess we'll just make it work. So long as you do this, we'll do that. Yeah, I'll take you out to dinner, but I want sex at the end of the night. Yeah, I'll do the dishes, but I'm probably not going to watch the kids. So I'll do the dishes, you take care of the kids, and we'll just kind of compromise it out, and we'll survive this thing. Marriage wasn't meant to be survived. It was meant to be a celebration. And is it always easy? No, it takes work. There are days where you look at each other and go, who are you? Why are you here? What did you do with the person that said yes? Because guys, I can tell you, I messed it up. I am a horrible, horrible romantic. I'm awful at it. You guys have heard me tell the story about when I asked Jennifer out on a date for the first time. I said, if nobody else wants to, would you like to go out on a date with me? Yeah. When I proposed to her, I stepped out of my apartment. We just had a fight. I slammed the door. I'm walking across the yard. I turned around because she heard it come out, and I'm like, oh. I said, what? And she said, what? So I said, will you marry me? And she said, yes. And I said, good, I got to go. True story. There was no. I never hit a knee. I said, good. And I got in my car and I left. It's worked out. We're doing good, though. 5 kids later, we're going strong, 18 years of marriage. I'm super excited, and I can't wait for the next 50. We don't compromise. I love Jennifer as strong as I know how. Because of Jennifer, not because of a contract that says I'm supposed to. And so here's what we do. We respond in those ways to our expectations. And I want to close here, and I want to get to this part because I think this is the part we really end up messing up. Sometimes we don't even realize that we moved from this to this. Some of you come home right now and you just have your this is what we do, this is what she better do. I'm going to give you 2 things, and here's the 2 things that I want you to take home with you. Your expressions of gratitude. That's the number one way you'll know if you've went from this to this. See, I just gave that guy, depending on where he goes to dinner, it'll be enough if you go to Burger King, bro, I got you a couple times, okay? But he didn't know what, I'm not going to take that. Because he wasn't expecting me to say, good job, go have a good time. There was no expectation. He didn't walk up here going, dude, better give me some money for walking up here. No. And it feels good when you get something you don't expect. And sometimes once we take a few steps into marriage, we just stop saying thank you. You know what, honey? You do an amazing job with the kids. And I just want to say thanks. Just thank you. You go to work every day, and I know the finances stress you out, and it's tough, and I just want to say thank you. Thanks. When's the last time you just seriously looked your spouse in the face and said, I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I just want you to know that I'm blown away. The fact that you said yes. Thank you. Second thing is acts of service. Fellas, most women that I have ran across, one of their love languages, one of their top 2 or 3 love languages is acts of service. Do something. Do something for me. Some of you ladies right now, just be honest with me, ladies. How many of you believe this is a waste of time? Yep. Some of your husbands got you flowers this week, and now they're like, oh, snap. But, fellas, you better be writing this down. If your husband would do the dishes for you, or start a couple loads of laundry, how many of you would know that would do far more than these that are going to die tomorrow? Yeah, you don't have to raise your hand. He knows already. So oftentimes we don't do anything. And so I want to challenge you, say thank you to your spouse for what they do. Just try it. This is a public place. You can try it here. Just grab your spouse by the hand. Look her in the eye. And say, thanks. It's real quick. Won't take you long. Okay? I just want to break the ice because I don't want this to be an awkward conversation like on the way to Burger King, you're gripping the wheel like, okay, I know I'm supposed to say it. Why do I do this? Thanks for starting the car to warm it up. No, it's not awkward. Don't make it awkward. And then do something. Ladies, we don't understand you. We just don't understand you. And that's okay. It makes life interesting. Fellas, she's going to drop hints all the stinking time. And they're going to be obvious hints like, are these your pants in our bedroom floor? Well, A, they better be my pants in our bedroom floor. And B, why didn't you just say, hey, could you pick up your pants? Yeah, we don't get you. But we love you. And we may not always know how to show it, but we're working on it. I want you to leave with this one question. And this question, and I'm going to close. I want you to write it down. I want you to put it on your car windshield, in your bathroom mirror, in your locker at work, your desk, your computer, wherever you will see it. And this is the question. What does my spouse owe me? When you get the answer to that question, you will find out what you've put in this box. And it's shifted from a desire that you want in your marriage to an expectation that you already have in your marriage.